On this interview, our special guest is someone that has quite an experience working in the sports athletics department, assistant director of athletics for communications and sports information, Sebastian Bush. Sebastian, thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you for having me, Miguel.
How's everything going?
It's going great. It's a little busy with the season, but everything else, enjoying all of it at one time.
So before we dive into your current position right now at City College, I want to take it all the way back to your college career. So for those of you who don't know, Sebastian Bush went to Monroe College and you studied sports management and business management, right?
Business management, sports management, yes.
My question to you is, Sebastian, where does this inspiration came from? What made you inspired to become a sports information director? And how was your experience like at Monroe?
So growing up, I always liked sports. I always wanted to work in sports. So after high school, I went to Monroe College in New Rochelle. I was a student athlete there. I ran track and field, and I still, as like a student, I always wanted to work in sports, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like kids. So after my sophomore year, it was the last day of finals. I'm walking out of Rice Light buildings. I just turned in my keys for my dorm, and our sports information director was walking down the street, and I said hello to him, like I normally do. And then I got to get to the corner, and he turns around, and walks up to me, "Hey, do you want a job?" Our assistant SID is leaving. We need somebody to fill in the role, and I always had a good relationship with him. So he offered me a job, and I came in next day, interviewed with him, and kind of offered it to me. I had no idea what sports information was, or even what it entailed, but I just took it.
So were you nervous when you first dove into sports information director?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started as like an assistant, like a student assistant. I probably had no clue what I was doing at all for about the first couple of months, writing stories, doing stats, scoreboard stuff. So it was all new to me, new experience, but it was something new to learn.
What made you build that confidence that you can actually do this job? Or were there a specific someone that gave you that words of wisdom that made things more easier for you to do your job?
I was always nervous doing something for the first time, but after a while, you have like administrators and coaches, and you're doing a good job. Don't worry about it. You'll learn over time. You're not going to be good at something the first time you do it. So, I had a lot of people, encouraging me.
Since you studied business management as well, I personally feel that if you're going into sports, media, or entertainment in general, it's important to learn the business aspect of it. And I feel that in your case, you have a tremendous combination of doing both sports management and business management. So what were some of the things that you learned, business management, that you were able to incorporate in your career so far?
So from the class that I took, definitely marketing, introduction to social media. I took some intro classes like Photoshop and Adobe Creative Suites. That definitely has helped me. A lot of the stuff that's helped me with sports information is through just working in the department, hands-on work. There's just things you can't learn in the classroom. There's stuff you're learning stuff on the fly of the game. We need someone to do a shot clock. I got to learn to do a shot clock. I learning to do stats. That's learning to do stats is like learning another language in college athletics.
We're able to work at Iona College as well. And how was your experience like at Iona College? And Iona College, it's a incredible institution with sports teams, and their basketball team is doing good so far. So how was your experience like working at Iona College?
So my experience was amazing. I interned for their associate AD at the time. He's now the senior associate AD for communications, Brian Breyer. He kind of, just took me on his way and taught me a lot, just not kind of like how to be like an SID running the show from an everyday basis, just, managing multiple things at one time in a game. And then, it's kind of like how to just coordinate everything at once, from like a high Division I level. So it was really like a good experience.
So far, you have been part of so many games. I'm pretty sure you've seen some crazy moments. Some you've probably seen all, but it's a tough one. I will understand this is a tough one I'm about to ask you, but is there one particular game that stood out to you in any of the sports that made you feel like, wow, I can't believe that I'm actually witnessing this?
Uh, so I'll use CCNY, my time in CCNY. My first year, this was a 2016-17 basketball season. Our team made it to they were playing the semifinals here at CCNY. I believe the game was tied, and David Solano at the time, senior David Solano, hits a game-winning shot against Lehman to take the team to the championship game. So that was probably one of the biggest moments. That's one of the biggest moments that's happened since I've been at CCNY.
All right. So you've been working at CCNY since 2016.
Yes.
And what is it about City College? What is it about working at the athletics department that you feel that is different compared to your experiences at Iona and Monroe? Because you've been there the longest compared to the other two.
City just has something that's a special element to it. Like everybody takes a lot of pride in everything they do here. There's a lot of great tradition here. And there's just something special here that you can't really get anywhere else. Everywhere out like during the past couple of months, I'll be walking down the street with a CCNY hoodie on. There's a random stranger comes up to me, hey, I went there. And I graduated from the engineering school in like 1975. We'll have a conversation. I'll ask, hey, is the gym floor still rubber? I'm like, no, we got a wood floor now. It's pretty nice. You got to come see some games. So it's always cool when that happens.
Yeah, and I could speak for myself since I'm an alumni of City College of New York, class of 2014. And at the moment, I always say that at the moment when I was in City College, I didn't really fully appreciate the school like how I should have. But it wasn't until after I left City College that I realized the amount of gratitude, the amount of support that the school has given me that made me open up to so many things and made me feel more outgoing. So I absolutely understand where you're coming from, that there's just something about City College that is so magical. It makes you just want to stick around or makes you want to come back to the school and check out games and things like that.
So originally I started working here in August 2016. I had left in September 2019. I had took a position back at Monroe College at the offered me. And I had, with the pandemic, my position, I got cut in Monroe. So I got the opportunity back in September to come here. This is a no-brainer to come back. I love that place. It was the right opportunity, right decision to make.
What has been the most fun part of a sports information director, and what is some of the most challenging things that you experience day by day as a sports information director?
Well, the most fun thing, hands down, is working with the student athletes and coaches. We try everything. Just sharing their stories, sharing their successes, whether it's writing a story or making graphics to post on social media, everything's just worth it. The challenges, I would say, I can't really call them challenges because it's part of the job. Probably like managing things at at certain times, like at the game. We had a game Friday night at home. Doing PA announcing and running stats during the game, and we have a video boards and writing that. So it's a little tedious, and but it's all worth it at the end.
Right. If it wasn't for sports, what's another department or field that you would see yourself doing if it wasn't for sports?
Wasn't for sports. You're actually what would we do like if I wasn't working in sports?
Yeah, if it's aside from sports, is there anything that interests you, I should say?
I would say like politics. I've always kind of been engaged like with politics. I always had an interest to it. More like, I don't know if you watch, like House of Cards, like I've always been like interested in that. Like I've always I'll watch it and like try to like like put myself in those same situations. It's like crazy situations. So something like that in politics. Like nothing like president. Well, I would never do that. Like work on someone's staff, something like that.
Which position in particular would you say from the top of your head?
I would be like the chief of staff or something. I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, okay. All right.
I would never want to be like a president or something. Like, no. I would never want to do something where I have to run for a campaign or election. I'm not doing that.
All right.
Yeah. I might somebody say something, I might like have to write at the district or something. I don't know. It's not the same. For me, it's different. I don't play political games.
What's the future? What's the goal for you going forward? I know that you're in City College right now. You've been there for a couple of years, but is there anything as working for sports? Is there anything that you want to climb higher? Like what's the goal?
Like in college, and I would always say I wanted to be an athletic director. So that's kind of a goal, but I don't want to do that anytime soon. Probably in 20, 10, 15 years, when I'm old and stuff. That may be something I want to, enter into. But at the moment, I'm enjoying the sports information world. Hopefully, I, do more in the field, accomplish more in the field too.
For anyone that is interested in working in the sports athletics department, what would something that you would recommend, or what advice would you give them if they really want to go into this field?
I would say kind of create a plan, like what you want to do. Like, let's say if a student comes up to me and says, I want to be an athletic director. I would say, in order to be an athletic director, there's a lot of things that you would have to have under your belt first. So you have to know facilities, compliance, fundraising, marketing, sports information. You would have to have a lot of things under your belt before you become an athletic director.
Sebastian, thank you so much again for taking the time to do this interview with me. You provided so much information of what goes behind the scenes as a sports information director. What's the life of a sports information director? So thank you so much for giving all of us that, and best of luck to you on your future endeavors.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you.